Hi, I'm Jonathan Hall. In this video, I talk about solving every problem twice. I first remember hearing about this habit from Joel Spolsky, who back in 2007 wrote, "Almost every tech support problem has two solutions. The superficial and immediate solution is just to solve the customer's problem. But when you think a little harder, you can usually find a deeper solution, a way to prevent this particular problem from ever happening again." I put a link to his blog post in the description. I see this as closely related to the 5 whys technique, which Wikipedia describes as an iterative interrogative technique used to explore the cause and effect relationships underlying a particular problem. The primary goal of the technique is to determine the root cause of a defect or problem by repeating the question, why? I have combined these two principles into my own habit, which I call solve every problem twice. So to solve every problem twice or more, first, I use the 5 whys technique to examine the cause or causes of the apparent problem. Then I apply Joel Spolsky's advice of solving each of these problems at least once. This usually results in anywhere from 2 to 5 solutions to any given observed problem. And finally, after I solve the problem 2 or more times, I repeat the same process for the problem-solving process itself. To illustrate, let me show you a problem I ran into last night. I was trying to do an update to one of my web applications, minimalpairs.net, when I ran into a mysterious problem. I have the application hosted on GitLab, and I'm using GitLab CI to do continuous integration and continuous deployment. Also, whenever I create a merge request, a review environment is automatically created for me. This is where the problem occurred. Now, I use Let's Encrypt for my SSL certificate management, and sometimes it does take a few minutes for it to issue a new certificate. So I was patient, but half an hour later, it was still not working. With the help of Google, I was able to find how to debug my problem. And the problem is that my Acme client is too old. I'm using version 0.5.2 of the Cert Manager. This is a very old version. The latest stable version is 0.11.0, so it looks like I need to upgrade. Let's go through the steps. First, the 5 whys. The first question is, why is the SSL certificate broken? Now, I've discovered the reason is I'm using an old, outdated version of the certificate manager. That leads to my second question, why do I need to upgrade the certificate manager? You may recall from earlier that I was explicitly installing version 0.5.2. Perhaps I could just install the latest version. So I believe I have identified 2 problems I can solve here. The first, naturally, is to install the latest version of the certificate manager. That will solve my immediate problem and get my website working again. The second is I can stop using a specific version and always install the latest. There may be some risks involved if a new version introduces a breaking change, but that may be a risk that's worth taking. Now, we're not done yet. We still have to do the last step. We need to repeat the same process for the problem-solving process. Now, I identified 2 particular areas where I believe I could have improved this process. The first one is that I should have noticed the problem much earlier. It should not have taken me an incidental upgrade to discover that my certificate manager was broken. 2 solutions to this problem come to mind. The first is simple monitoring. I could have a service monitor my website and my SSL certificate and notify me whenever there's a problem. Second, and more proactively, I could use the same error logs that I use to debug the problem and have them sent to a service like Sentry.io. Such a service can notify me immediately whenever a problem occurs. In the spirit of solving the problem twice, I should do both of these. And second, it should have been easier to debug the problem in the first place. I had to dig through Kubernetes to find logs. I had to look up some commands on Google to know which logs to look for. I already have a logging service in place. I'm using Loggly. I should just have my Kubernetes log sent to Loggly. That would make it much easier to solve this sort of problem in the future. So in conclusion, I came up with 5 ways to solve this simple problem. The first, upgrade the certificate manager. Second, don't pin a specific version so this problem won't occur in the future. Third, set up monitoring and set up error alerting. Fourth, 2 ways to proactively notify me if an error does occur. And finally, set up better logging. I hope this video has been informative. If so, I would appreciate if you like and subscribe below. Thank you.